My name is Janet Summit, and I'm very nervously excited to be here today. I am talking about community schools. I have 11 children. I'm married to Dawn Summit. My oldest is 26. My youngest is now 11. I obtained a degree from Utah State University in elementary education, and I think it was from day 2 of my first elementary education class that I knew I wasn't going to fit in very well. I didn't know exactly what was wrong for a long time. It's taken me a lot of years to put the pieces in place to identify what it was I objected to. I have come to the conclusion and the realization that it was all about agency. The things that I didn't like all involved agency. So I began I'm hoping this, I'm not very electronically motivated, but hopefully this works. So with my background in education, when I began having my own children, I began to think, I just can't do what I'm trained to do. I can't. And so I decided my only option was to homeschool my children. And because I'm an educator, I decided I had to do it the, quote, right way. And so I sat down and I made a list of everything I knew had to be taught. And then I decided, okay, let's figure out what needs to be taught and how it needs to be taught, how it needs to be approached. And this is my basic list that I made way back 21 years ago. Spiritual learning in my book belongs at home. It should be directed at home. So should emotional learning. That should be home directed. It doesn't mean that the parent can't choose where else to do it. It just means that the direction should be under the home. The 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. I had been just enough in the school system to know that no children are the same and that you can't move a 7-year-old along in math if that child hasn't mastered that concept. And yet if that child has to move along in math, that child will forever be disadvantaged. And so the 3 R's in my book should be directed at home or with a mentor, but they should be individually directed. And you can see the rest of them. Academic topics, I just loosely defined them. That's everything from ancient Egypt to biology to snails. It's those topics can be addressed either at home, directed at home, or with a mentor, or it can be done in a group. And so you can kind of go down that list there. Leadership skills, you have to do that in a group. And health education should be done directed at home. So that's kind of how I based my master list of how I was going to plan education for my children. And then because I love groups, I could see the value in them. I wanted my children to participate in them, and I'm a teacher at heart. And so I began to direct lots of groups. My children participated in lots of groups. What I found was that some groups, I didn't advance my slide. Sorry. Some groups worked well, some groups didn't. And I began to wonder why and to really study that. What I found is that when you have a group situation, they work very well if the purpose of a group can be doing these things. If the children can come to a group and share what they have learned. So maybe like a show and tell. And believe me, high schoolers like show and tell. So they might be learning about ancient Egypt in their studies at home, and maybe the purpose of the group is French. It doesn't matter. They can come and they can share what they've learned about ancient Egypt that week in 5 minutes or less. And my kids and the kids I began teaching in groups, they loved it, and they would time themselves. They would do all kinds of things for the opportunity to present and share in a group. Good group should be an invitation to extend learning. It shouldn't be the only place your child is ever going to go to learn about ancient Egypt. And I'm harping on that because that's what we're studying at home right now. But it shouldn't be the only place. A good group should say, yes, I remember an example about 1812. I taught a group that was devoted to war. That was our topic. And we had a lot of boys in this group because they like war. And so we were just discussing the whole purpose of the group. We'd take a different war every week, and we'd just talk about it. And one week, the War of 1812 was our topic. And so I told the kids, I said, go home this week, find out who in your family and your ancestors lived, see if the War of 1812 affected them at all. And then following week, those kids came back and they were excited. They had done that and they had found out amazing things. They had extended their learning. And a good group should be a place where you can discuss ideas and concepts, and you can work together to produce things of value. Now, a group should not be a place to teach basic skills. I feel very strongly about that. I think that's one of the problems with our public school system, is we are using it to teach very basic skills that need to be done individually and with a mentor. Only when a child has the freedom to take as long as they want to learn those basic skills can they really develop them with confidence. And you know what? It's kind of like what my mother taught me a long time when I have 10 children, and at one time I had 5 children under the age of 5. So I had 4 children that weren't potty trained. And my mother told me one day, she said, you know, in 15 years, no one is ever going to ask your child or you how old they were when they got potty trained. And it's the same with learning a basic skill. No one's ever going to ask a child how old they were when they really mastered multiplication. If they're 10 or 11 or 12, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is that they master it. And it can only really be done effectively in a very small group or monitored by a mentor. So the idea behind here is we trust individuals to develop themselves as they see fit. So with my love of groups, 2 years ago, we had a group of 35 kids, and we were meeting for a whole day. We called it the Friday School. We were meeting in my house, and we literally had kids all over my house. It was fun, but it was exhausting, and my house kind of showed the effect of that. So I wanted to build something different, but how do you build a school when you don't have any money, you don't have a building, you don't have any teachers, and you don't even have a group of people who share the same educational philosophy, and no one really knows you even want a group? So, but my vision was strong, and after the last ABE conference that I attended last November, I found the one piece of thing I needed to begin my group. It was finding insurance and how to get insurance. And thank you to whoever was here having that discussion that shared that with me. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Because I came away from that conference on a Saturday night, and Monday morning I was calling the insurance company. Tuesday morning I found a building, and our school started 1 month later. We called it Cache Valley Star Academy. We've started with a group of 14 families, and you can kind of look down the list. But this coming January, I have down here 21 families, because when I made the PowerPoint a few days ago, we had 21 families involved. But actually, since then, we've added enough. We have 29 families now that are going to be involved. This is a need. It's what people want. We run 2 days a week. We have because we're homeschoolers, we have freedom to do what we want, but we run 2 days a week. We have 4 different hours of classes. This in January, we're actually going to have 3 different classes offered for each age group. We have teens, elementary, preschoolers, and in the elementary, we split them up into 2 different ages of elementary. So we have 3 choices, each age group, and it's just a tremendous need. The families don't all come for the same length of time. Some families come for just 1 class. Most of our families come for 1 complete day. Most of our teenagers come for 2 complete days. But we do have teenagers coming for just 2 or 3 classes. It's built with agency in mind. It's designed to support what people want and what they need. Our moms, let's see. This is our next class. Next slide. If you don't have any money, like we don't, that's actually a blessing. I wouldn't trade. I would not accept money from anybody right now, because all of our moms teach. If your family is involved, the mom agrees she will teach a class. The parents donate everything they don't buy, they don't pay for, So we don't have any treasury. Our treasury is our families. The benefit is the parents are there. They know what their children are doing. If you have children over 12, you can leave them in the school, and you don't have to be there other than to teach your class and also to assist in one class. But if you have children younger than 12, you have to stay at the school with the children. And that is a huge benefit, huge benefit. And the parents are learning too. This slide talks about how the insurance company that we were able to find insurance from, the insurance costs on average, it varies by age, but it's about $10 a month, which is not $10 a month, $10 a year per person, which is very reasonable. And then we do pay that we meet at a First Presbyterian Church, and they have been gracious enough to let us use their building for the families pay $10 a month if they attend one day. So for the entire family, they pay $10 a month. If their family attends 2 days of classes, they pay $15 a month. That's been a huge blessing to us. So how do you build a school? You just build it. You just go right ahead and envision it and build it. My recommendation, after having done so many homeschool groups, is that you need to have 2 very strong co-chairs, and I'm one of them. You have to have similar vision and goals, and you have to have the idea that the buck stops here. We are a community school, but that being said, it is my school. I'm invested in that school. Every mom is invested in that school. But my co-chair and I are, everything that happens is under our direction. We have lots of input. We seek and welcome input. But in all reality, when everything is ended up and done, we have to make the hard decisions, and we do. And that's what makes it an agency school, because we'd love you to join us if this fits what you want and what you need. But if not, we're okay with that too. And that is an agency principle. So, okay, we're on a different slide than I am. I'm sorry. Have I done? Okay. Sorry, I'm not good at this. We operate under the principle that we need to be unified, but we don't want to be the same. We all have different needs and wants, etc., and different philosophies and religion. But we all agree. Let me see what my next slide is going to be. We all agree that we want a large group of teens. I began this school because I have 6 teenagers at this time, and I have 3 that are older, but I do have 6 teenagers. And it's been a challenge for me, but I knew that my teenagers in the past, they'd wanted a group. They'd wanted to learn things in a group. They just wanted a group experience. They wanted something a little bit more than I could provide solely at home. I didn't want them going to part-time school like my other 3 had done. And so that's why I set up Star Academy. So in order to be a family participating in Star, you have to have at least one child who is a teenager. And that's how we keep the number of teenagers roughly proportionate to our elementary students. And so that has worked very well. But we found out what we had similar, what we had different, and we worked to find what we could all value. And that's my next slide. We talk about values. Religion is a big one here. I did not want a school that was one religion based. Maybe someone else would, but I didn't. I happened to be LDS, but I wanted my children to have a diversified experience 2 days a week. And so we made it very clear that we all believed in God. I think that's actually my cell phone. Isn't that funny? Oh, dear. You can just ignore it. It'll turn off. I am so sorry. Anyway, those things are all important, and they're all important to address. But groups fail because they try to meet everyone's needs. We can't meet everyone's needs. We can find what we have in common, and we can honor agency, and we can share common values. And so when you combine values and wants, that's what helps to make your master list. That's what helps to decide what you really want to put together in a school. We all valued religion. We all valued God as creator and the foundation of our lives. We valued patriotism. We valued having our children have a safe and secure place, and we valued teaching principles. And so it works for us. So we choose curriculum that supports those values. I could spend a whole presentation talking about the value of Uncle Eric books. They are phenomenal. For teens, I could teach my teens using those books, and they would have a wonderful education. We've done Toastmasters. We've done a class from the book Do Hard Things. I taught this semester. It's a Christian-based book, but we made it works in our school. We made it very clear. This is our curriculum. We have classes people can sign up for, and we have the teachers write a description of their classes. I listed the book. I told that it was a Christian book. Parents had the opportunity to choose whether or not they wanted their kids to be in that particular class. I have a Jewish family in my class, and they chose that because the values in that book, even though they are Christian, fit what they wanted for their children. That is agency. This is just a sample of our schedule, not that it's real important, but you can see that we're offering classes. This is our schedule. This semester in January, we have another 4 columns because we've been able to add other classes. When we were thinking about what classes to teach, we have our moms teach. And so every mom will come in with a different set of skills. Some moms don't think they have skills. In fact, we had one mom go out and hire someone to do her teachings for her. And that's fine. She did that, and that's her contribution, and that person has done a great job. But we decided that we couldn't do a 4-year developmental plan because our moms have different skills and ability. So we are doing, we base a lot of our classes on what skills do we as a group want for our kids to have. The class is Literary Lions. I've run this group for 21 years now. Hands down, it's my favorite. The thing that children do in this group is they go home and they write something, anything at all that week. They bring it back the next week to class. We teach them how to do public speaking, and they share it with the class. That's the major portion of what we do in that class. And the kids from kindergarten to seniors in high school, they love that type of class. And then we just do literary games, depending on their age. But that provides them with a basis for skill development. It expands upon skills that they're learning at home. And same with these other classes. We have a mom whose husband is deaf. So she teaches sign language, and once a month her husband takes a day off work, and he comes in, and the class talks to him. It's a wonderful class. I couldn't duplicate that at home, but we're benefiting because we can take what everyone can offer. And then we have classes, focus in choosing classes or designing what we teach, is we want classes that support and extend learning. Like economics, we've used Uncle Eric books with a great success. We did Whatever Happened to Penny Candy this semester. Next semester, the teacher is actually going to divide the kids into groups of 4. They're going to decide on a business they want to start, and then she's going to say, how do you do that? Well, you have to file a business. You have to get a business license. How do you do that? And they're actually going to do that. Okay, so in a school like ours, how do you work discipline? Discipline is all about self-government. I love Nicolene Peck's discipline system. It's changed my individual family's life. But we adapt some of what she teaches. If you want information about that, it's teachingselfgovernment.com. I cannot recommend that system of family discipline highly enough. But it's all about self-government, and we talk to the children about self-government the first day of school and often during the school days. If a child's being a child who just can't stop talking, he's not governing himself. And I'll say to him, Joseph, you're not able to govern yourself because you're not understanding that this is a time to let everyone else participate too. So we'd like you to choose to govern yourself better. Because the mothers are right there, it's just expected that all children are going to have times when they need to go and just take a break. Every kid does. I mean, I even had a teacher one time say, I'm going to go sit with my child. I need a break. But it works that way, and it's just expected. It's not seen as a bad thing at all. So if your children are 12 and under, the mothers are right there. And we just don't have discipline problems. The choice, and we make it very clear, the choice is to attend. So if you are attending a class and you think it's boring, your choice is to attend. If you are attending, by that very act of attending, you are choosing to participate in the class and to be supportive. We don't give homework. The teen classes, we do inspirements. And this semester, we're starting to do where we're actually having the teens fill out a little paper. I'm taking this class. In this class, I want this level. And we have 3 levels. The first level is I just want to audit the class. I'm just going to be in that class. I might answer a question once in a while, but I just want to be there. I'm going to glean from the class. The second level is I'm going to do the homework. I really want the homework. I want you to give me feedback on the homework, and I'm really going to, learn from this class. Third level is I'm going to take this class. I want to master this class. I want feedback on my homework, and I want feedback that will encourage me and help me know what I can do next and how to expand. And then I want you to help me give more feedback on the things I submit based on that feedback. And you know what? We have kids that choose that. My daughter was taking a class on the Uncle Eric book, Whatever Happened to Justice, and originally she chose to audit the class. But about midway through, she came to me. I'm not the teacher, but I'm, the principal. They treat me differently because I'm the principal. But she said, Mom, I wish I'd chosen that I want feedback. I said, you can choose it now. And so she went, she told her teacher, and she loves that class. She spends a lot of time researching that. But it was her choice. That's how it should be. How do we meet everyone's educational needs? And the short answer and the long answer is we don't. We don't even claim to. The responsibility of learning is on the child, and it should be directed by the parents. If a mother comes to us, which a mother did, and said, my daughter needs a high school biology class, I said, great, but I don't think based on the parents I know that we have anyone who would be willing to teach that kind of a class. She said, but my daughter needs it. And I said, do you want to teach it? And this was back in May. And she said, no. And she called me in June, and she said, I will teach that class. She spent her summer preparing to teach a biology class on a high school level. That class has 3 students in it. But those 3 students are doing very well, and they love that class. And this mother did that because she wanted this for her child. There's a lot of benefits to an agency school. As I think about it, if I had someone come to me today and say, I'd give you $5,000 to run your school every year, I think I would turn it down. And I can get really emotional here because there are benefits to doing it yourself. There are benefits to saying, if you really want that class, let's pray about it. Let's see if someone can offer it. There's just huge benefits to doing that. The children see that learning is important to their parents. They see that their parents are willing to sacrifice and that their parents are learning too. In January, we're actually going to do a class based on Neil Flinder's book, Teach the Children. And this class is for adults. And I'm going to run this class. We're all going to read the book. And it's just a book discussion. But I'm going to do it twice because the moms who were teaching during that hour wanted to do it too. But this is what a community school can do. The one thing I feel passionately about, I have seen schools, good homeschooling cooperative groups, I have seen them destroyed because of hurt feelings, because no one could agree on how to run it. I have seen lives really have havoc because people would be criticized and ruined. And so when I thought about setting up a school, all I could think of was my very dear friends who'd had horrible experiences. So I make it very clear that this is my school. Everyone is welcome to join me in my vision. I love the families in our school. I think we do share a common vision. I make very sure that I've given them our vision statement, that they buy into it, that they see what I want, and they decide if it's what they want too. And then we are all on the same page, and we are able to move forward. But it eliminates criticism. I had a mom the second week of our school who, right after our morning devotional where we'd said a prayer and had a pledge, I was leaving to go to the next class I was teaching, and she just collared me, and she started to yell at me and told me how we were being elitist and we were not honoring anybody by having a prayer and a pledge. And it took me aback, but I had the strongest impression just to listen. And as I drew her into another room and just let her rant and rave and listen to her, I said to her finally, I said, this is my school. I want the prayer. I want the pledge. We agreed on the values of God in this school. But that being said, what I hear you saying is that you are really afraid that your daughter will be teased and ridiculed and made fun of if she does not stand up for the pledge. And if she says, no, I don't want to give a prayer. And I said, we are an agency school, and I want to honor agency, and I will work very hard to make sure that our children respect your agency and your choices too. We don't have to agree, and we don't have to see eye to eye, but I will do my very best that way. And I said, so would you like to stay with us, or would you like to choose something different? And she looked at me and she said, I would like to stay. And she has become our most ardent supporter. They only stayed one semester because they moved out of state. But when she left us a large sum of money so that we could buy some books. It works to have an agency school when we're all on the same page and when we do value agency. And that's our experience, and I'm really passionate about that. This is my contact information, and I just think agency schools are what we need to come to. I love the idea of 2 days a week, because where we don't run a religious school, I want my children to have a religious education also. But 2 days a week gives them a great opportunity to go and take classes that they're inspired from. They come home the other 3 days. I work with my children. We talk about those subjects. We apply it in our specific paradigm of the world. And it's just a really great way to educate children. Thanks. And now I'm not nervous. Oak asked me if I just tell one story. This is a class I was teaching, and I had prepared all summer to teach this class. It was a Literary Lions class, and so I had thought I would be teaching a group of a little bit older children who could do a little bit more in terms of writing. And when I got to that day of class, I realized I wasn't, that the children didn't have those basic skills. And so anyway, but I had already handed out the homework, the syllabus with the requirements and everything. And this one little boy in particular, he just couldn't keep up, and he knew he couldn't keep up. And so he asked if I could help him. And I did help him after class, and his skills went, they just really skyrocketed, but he was motivated to succeed. And then there was another class where it was one of my own children. He just wasn't participating in class, and he wasn't doing the homework, and I wasn't on top of it. And so I wasn't aware of it until the woman who was teaching it came to me, and she told me about her concern about my child because he wasn't participating and he wasn't doing the work. And that was affecting the whole class, because the whole class can't move forward without, unless everybody is able to move forward, or at least able to not distract the others from moving forward. So I had multiple problems with my own child, but I was able to address them because I told my child, I said, look, your choice is to attend that class. If you are going to attend that class, you need to do the work, and you need to honor the people in the class who want to learn and the teacher. And wham, in 1 week, he was doing work without me making him because he really wanted to participate in that class. And that's the power of agency. Okay, money and supplies. We we don't have any money, which makes it really easy. When you don't have any money, you have to come up with something different. When we ask the moms to teach the class, the mom is expecting to pay for the supplies. We have all the children; they have to bring basic supplies. They've got to bring paper, pencils, notebooks, etc. Some of our classes we charge up to $5. For an art class for teens, we charge $20, but the teacher bought everything. So the moms become very creative, and we just work it that way. We don't buy anything expensive. We do have the families buy their own books for the classes.